Hello and welcome back to the Polemates podcast. I say welcome back. We do have another podcast that should go up before this, but we're sort of struggling really on how to present it. But that'll be out soon, and then this will be shortly afterwards because I'm sure we'll get it sorted.
Probably within hours of each other.
Probably, yes. So obviously the first podcast will be to do with the Baku Grand Prix mainly, the touring cars and everything that happened that weekend as well. This is we've just had the Spanish Grand Prix, which was the main event that happened this weekend.
Touring cars are next weekend.
Touring cars next weekend at Thruxton. We did have the Nurburgring 24 hours though as well at the weekend. We shall.
Having worked all weekend, I didn't get to see much of the 24 hours of Nurburgring.
No, it's something that I sort of dipped in and out of really over the 24 hours. I didn't actually manage to get onto the live stream at any point. I wish I'd have.
Did for a short period, but when the BMWs both went out, I lost interest.
Fair with a fan. Fair with a fan. Yeah, briefly on that one, it didn't go well for me either because the Audis didn't win either. No. So imagine it gets quite heated in your household with one being a BMW fan and one being an Audi fan.
Yeah, and the Audi fan's quite a passionate Audi fan as well,
and quite rightly so. Quite frankly, the Audis are awesome. So
even down to if I say something against Audi, then the cat is against me as well. The cat is told she's an Audi fan.
Yeah.
Even though she's quite clearly a Roman Grosjean fan.
Well, someone's got to. But we'll come back to that one later. Yeah, I believe. I know it was Porsche that won.
Yes.
It eventually came out on top in the 24 hours at the Nurburgring. Patrick Pilet was the main driver of that, along with Nick Tandy.
Who we've seen.
We have seen. We had
driving the Porsche, didn't we?
Yes.
At Brands.
Yes, he did demo laps in the 919 hybrid at Brands last year. Also, actually, going back a while, I've seen Nick Tandy in Formula Ford at Brands.
Look at you!
Yeah. Driving for, I think it was his dad's team, JTR.
Okay.
But yeah, no, he's very underrated.
Yes.
Very underrated driver. He's done very well with everything that he's done. Obviously, he won one.
Sports cars seem to suit him.
Yes. Yeah.
That's his little niche.
Yes.
It's good.
Yeah.
Good to see.
Won the one with Nico Hulkenberg.
He did. Yes. Yeah.
At Porsche. He also won Petit Le Mans as well. In a lower class car, safety cars and whatnot, and bad weather caused an early end, and he won outright. I think in a GT car.
Wow!
Beat the prototype. So that was
quite
that was quite a good. And I believe he's won the Daytona 24 hours as well. So
yes, yeah,
very well distinguished driver.
Got
very
good
underrated.
CV that one.
Yes, yeah. Very quick.
And the team.
The other two, let me just refer to my notes.
Pilet and Tandy were the well-known ones.
Yes.
So they're a team.
Probably going to be... Fred McAvecchi and Richard Lights were the other two. But obviously a bit of British interest in Nick Tandy there, so...
It's good to see the Brits doing well.
That's good. And also, while we're on the subject of GTs, have you seen the pictures of BMW's M8 GT3?
Yes.
Yeah. Very pretty car. Presumably taken over from the M6s, I would imagine.
Yes. Yeah.
Very good looking car.
I'm in love. But I'm still saving for an M3, let alone an M6 or an M8. So.
I struggle to get an M2 at the moment.
I can't afford a Volkswagen.
No.
So.
I might be able to get an M&M. That's about as far as I can go. But yeah, so moving on then from the Nurburgring 24 hours.
You watched someone historic, didn't you?
Yes, actually, if you don't follow Goodwood's YouTube channel, I can highly recommend it. They do live streams from their events. They do, like, obviously the members meetings and all sorts. They do highlights, and they do, when the Festival of Speed is on, they do a live stream of the day's events as well, which runs pretty much from start to finish on, I think, at least the 2 days, the Saturday and Sunday. They might even do the Friday as well. Very, very well worth a subscribe to that. They covered, I was completely surprised when I logged onto YouTube and they were actually doing live stream of the historic Monaco Grand Prix, which I think is biannual. I don't think they do it every year,
No,
but I think it's biannual.
yeah.
And that was actually it was very good to see a lot of the older cars there, and they're actually properly being thrashed around as well. They weren't just doing demos; they were being properly raced.
That got me the bit that you've just shown me, and he went to overtake the other one and caught the back and flipped up in the air, and he got a bit of air before he went off down the side road.
Yes, yes,
So,
yeah.
The famous Nico Rosberg side road.
Oh yes, yeah.
The runoff.
I'm not going to make this corner somehow.
I do think that should be called Rosberg Boulevard.
Yes, enough about that. Saying about they don't just do demo laps. There was a couple of demo sessions that they did do. Eddie Irvine, being a familiar face from a few years back, was driving James Hunt's McLaren M26.
Ooh.
Doing some demos. Mika Hakkinen as well was driving an older. I don't know the actual model of McLaren on that one, so please forgive me. It's
that's very unusual for
I
you.
know. It was one of the orange Bruce ones with the early aero. Had the sort of large flat rear wing at the back, and the two shorter stubby ones at the front. Also, Karan Chandok was in that parade as well. Special moment as well for Josh Hill, Damon's son. Managed to drive his granddad's Lotus 49 in the Gold
Oh
Leaf.
wow.
Livery, which was very.
This is all on their YouTube channel.
This is all on their YouTube channel.
I need to find that. I need to see that.
The live streams have been archived. They're about 9 hours long for each day, but obviously you can skip through them. But definitely well worth a look, especially the last demo run that I think they did on a Sunday. A little bit of shenanigans going on with Mika Hakkinen and Eddie Irvine, because after the demo laps with the camera car got out of the way and allowed them to get on with it a little bit. So Hakkinen shoots straight off. Irvine follows him, manages to get past him at one point, and then it was all Mika up his backside trying to get back through. Couldn't do it, so jumped the chicane and did it that way instead. So it was a little bit of fun.
It's nice to see when they get back in the car. They get their race head on, but they're having fun.
Yes, yeah, they are having. And nice to actually see Eddie Irvine. Don't see a lot of him nowadays, so it was good to see him back.
I only ever see him Sky when they're not showing the race. Like now, they're repeating obviously the Spanish Grand Prix over and over, but they do little interviews, and they did an interview with him on a boat out in Monaco on a yacht, and they keep showing that. And it's a good interview.
I'll have to look.
But
But
but it's the same one, and it's repeated over and over again.
Right.
Yeah. But it's interesting because he talks about his life racing, and
he was a very very quick driver. Was Eddie Irvine? But
he comes across as he's very very settled in Monaco with his big watch and his sunglasses. Life's good at the moment.
Life is good. Yeah, I think I think he sort of switches between there and Miami. Yeah. So he likes the sun. Does Eddie Irvine? It's sun and sea. I think
that's not a bad life to live.
It's not. I think he does a lot of sort of property turnover and that sort of thing.
I think they did mention that. They touched on that a bit. And you mentioned earlier James Hunt's McLaren.
Yes.
Which there was one I went to Leeds Castle on Saturday.
Yes. You went to
and went to Motors at the Moats.
Yes. Yep.
Apparently I should have gone on the Sunday, not the Saturday.
Was it?
I was working Sunday, but apparently it was a lot more cars. That was my one disappointment, was there weren't as many cars as I hoped there'd be. But that was my problem. Yeah. You know, not them. It was really well laid on.
What sort of cars were there? Was it sort of like road cars, race cars, or a bit of both? Or
mainly road cars,
right.
Supercars. A couple of people took their Clios along.
Oh really? That's you were in good company then.
No, I was quite upset because if I'd have known that I could have paid, I would have driven up and paraded my car. Purely because it rained so hard, and when we wanted to walk back to the car and eat, we had quite a walk in the rain. And if I'd have paid to parade my car, it would have been just like paying for a car park, and I could have sat in the car and eaten. I'm not worried about
That's
it.
a good point. That's a good point.
So, they had some older cars there as well. Some big old American, you know. I have got some film, so I will get some film up on YouTube of it.
Excellent.
And they had a James Hunt McLaren there.
Did they?
But I think it was a real one, but I did wonder a bit if it was a mock-up. I couldn't get that close.
Right.
But then they had a couple of real old cars there as well, from like the 30s race cars.
Yeah.
And had a guy there with the long blonde wig sat in the car, and had another guy there in his old ill-fitting overalls and a Goodyear cap on, and he's sitting in the car and he says, so it's basically a bomb on wheels really. There's a fuel tank here, there's a fuel tank there. Very rush. And then the other guy says, well, we could get some material, carbon fibre. And it's a shame we only came in sort of halfway through this, but they did a whole talk on how carbon fibre and how racing's got safer. But they did it all as this role play, and it looked really good.
Excellent.
But we saw that bit, and it was throwing it down.
Oh, that's a shame.
And that was the only time they did it on that day. They were then saving it for the Sunday. But it was really good. And then the guy that had the Goodyear hat on was just floating around answering questions. And
brilliant.
And he offered to take a picture of me and Terry Grant.
So Terry Grant was there.
Terry Grant, yes.
We've seen him on a few occasions before.
I did tell him that.
Crazy things.
London Stadium and Autosport a couple of times.
Race of Champions, wasn't he? We saw him last time. And
that's the first time I ever saw him.
He used to do. I mean, this is going back quite a way. He used to do with his little Legend hot rod.
That's what he had. And the Duke.
The Duke.
He two-wheeled the Duke down a very narrow road with people either side. But it's all right because we had hay bales.
I have seen him do that at Goodwood. He's done from top to the bottom of the hill with the Duke all the way up.
This was nothing like that sort of distance. It was quite a short distance, but it was biblically wet, and he was a bit. He sort of said, "Look, I'm really sorry if I can't do it. I will try again later. It's meant to dry out later, But he was always good. He was very, very good.
He used to. This is going back a bit. Going back to British touring cars now. We're talking Super Touring era. Team Dynamics, when they were sponsored by Max Power, they were. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with Team Dynamics over the years, as you well know.
It's more into love at the moment, though, isn't it?
It's more into love at the moment, but back when they were the privateer team and they were sort of taking it to the big teams, they were one of the first teams, I think, really to engage with the fans and do a little bit extra. That was their thing. They were the underdogs. They wanted fan power. They used to have Terry Grant in a Max Power liveried little Legend, and he'd do demos throughout the day on the track, and donuts around and doing all that sort of stuff. And that was very sort of endearing to fans. They liked that sort of thing, and that was part of. It's almost like the first kind of social media kind of thing
before social media was what it is.
Just getting people to follow the team, which was.
It's a way of doing it. You do that. You give out caps. I don't get the fuss.
Yeah. Sorry, we've gone off onto a side tangent.
We have. Well, we tend to do that.
We were talking. Historic Monaco. We were talking motors at the Moat.
Yes. So that's another thing I would recommend. But next year I will be doing the Sunday.
Yes.
I might even try and do both days next year because it'll be £25 and you get a year's ticket. So I can now get into Leeds Castle for a whole year.
You can go back as many times as you like in that year.
Leeds Castle's lovely. Go there for a picnic, see the castle, great day out. So next year, if they're doing the same offer, I'll buy the ticket for the Saturday and then I'll go back on the Sunday as well.
I think I probably might join you next year if it's on the Sunday anyway. No, that would be
well worth doing.
Never done.
And it's interesting as well because the people sit around their cars and you can talk to them about their cars, and
that's nice.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
I have just remembered there's one thing that we've not talked about. And we didn't even mention it in the build-up either. We actually went to Brands last weekend. We went to see the Blancpain GT Sprint Series.
We did.
Or not weekend just gone, but the weekend before that. We did mention it in the first podcast we were going.
You'd think I'd remember that, having sat there looking at the footage for a whole week while editing.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that, we have got a video up on the channel at the moment from our time there. What was your? It's the first time you've ever been to a qualifying session.
Yes.
We did the whole weekend. We did the Saturday and the Sunday. Yeah. Your first time at a qualifying / free practice day.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
because I'm used to sitting down watching the race, and you sit pretty much in one spot. You could walk around. It's a bit more free. Saw things from different views. Yeah, I'd do it again. Definitely do it again.
Excellent.
And race-wise, the racing was good as well, wasn't it?
The racing was good. I actually think race-wise probably better than last year.
Yes.
They were more entertaining.
Yeah.
The support races, the grid sizes were phenomenal.
46 cars for the GT4s.
46 cars.
Was it 46?
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah, it was 46.
Yeah, and then there was more. There was either the same amount or just slightly more for the Caterhams as well. There was a hell of a lot of. They normally do a standing grid start, but they were forced into doing a rolling run because there were that many cars.
Yeah.
They'd pretty much be all the way round onto Cooper Straight if they were going to start standing. But
I didn't include the Caterhams in the vlog because I didn't get too much footage of them. But the bit I did get, I wanted to use. And me living in Caterham at the end of it, when I pulled into Caterham, I wanted to drive past the Caterham sign and sort of say, this is how we drive in Caterham. And as we got back into Caterham, the GoPro ran out in the car. So Gemma got my phone ready, and then a police car shot past. And I'm not going there. Something's telling me not to do this. Yes. So just as I came down the bypass, I just thought, forget it.
But that was good weather that weekend.
It was beautiful. Yeah, it was lovely.
It was bank holiday weekend, and for once in the UK, we actually had really nice weather on a bank holiday, which was awesome. Although we might have to think about repositioning ourselves where we sit at Brands Hatch.
Yes.
It's always if any of you know Brands Hatch, we sit just on the exit of sort of Druids Corner, but it's under the trees, and no matter how hot it is everywhere else, it's always freezing cold under there. The wind whips through there. Everyone else was people with their shirts off, sunbathing along the South Bank, and there's us with hoodies, proper thick hoodies, and even coats on over the top of it, freezing our backsides off.
I went round to the entry of Paddock, and there was a lady there, and she was laying there with a tent, with her head inside the tent, sort of propped up, and she was wearing basically a swimming costume, sunning herself, and all I could smell was like bacon burning, and then I look over the other side, and I'm thinking, you're all sat over there in hoodies. Nathan that came with us had a hood on.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We might need to move around a bit. The other thing I will point out is that I'm in the process. I'm going to get a flag made or something made. So if anyone does actually listen to this and comes to Brands and sees us, come over, say hello. I'm going to try and get some stickers printed, and you can have a sticker.
Excellent. So, excellent. Repping the merch.
Yeah, that's it. So if anyone sees, and if you come over and you're the first person to do it, then I'll probably feed you as well. Yeah. To be honest, I'm so grateful.
Also, this goes for friends and family as well. Just please come and get a sticker, please.
So we had the Blancpain, which was Audi. They were just
Imperious
quick around
this year,
there.
weren't they?
They were so quick.
Which is quite funny because last year it was all Lambo. The Audis tried really hard to get onto terms with them, and they couldn't quite make it.
Lamborghini looked quick in practice, didn't it?
It did.
And then it got to qualifying, and he got a penalty.
Ah, is that what happened?
And that's why he started so far.
Right.
I got a bit confused with it all, to be honest. But yeah, I believe that's why he started so far back, and that's the Audis were just gone.
Yeah. Yeah. The racing itself was actually a lot more competitive than last year.
Yeah.
Lambo just ran off with it last year.
Yeah, no, it was a close field. I mean, the three Audis were at the front, and Chris Mees, part of the way through the race, when his teammate was in the car, he came and he said, "Look, we're racing here, but we have to do the Audi thing. Yeah. We have to look after each other, and we have to bring the cars home." But you could see him sort of having a little look now and again.
There was a little bit of a ding dong. Yeah,
there's a gap there. I'm going to go for it, and that was good to see.
Yeah. It was all about on the starts. I think was the main. The crucial point of the race. Yeah. Now, the Audis last year, they kind of got it wrong because they tried to go around the outside and into Paddock and make them move that way. Didn't work for them last year. Instantly, Chris Mees, I think, was the one who tried to make the move last year. It actually got clobbered and got a puncture early on, and pretty much ruined the weekend for them.
Yeah. And that's how he ended up back in Dusseldorf before we got home.
Yes, yeah, we're not quite sure how that happened. I'm sure everything was legal and above board, but still, he made it back home before we'd even left the circuit. Bearing in mind their race, I think, or that second race started about 4 o'clock.
Yes, so it was 4 o'clock this year, so it must have been about the same.
Yeah. So yeah, that was very well done. But this year the Audis timed it perfectly. There was a Mercedes up with them as well. They had to get past that.
Michael Meadows, wasn't it?
It was Michael Meadows. Yeah.
And Raffaele Marcella.
Straight round the outside at the start, no problems, and away they went. So
good driving.
Very well done. Very well done.
Just a bit disappointed they're now gone to Silverstone for the Endurance Cup. We went to the Sprint Cup. Disappointed not to be going.
Yes, yeah, because the grid size is massive. I think it's in 43. I think.
Well,
and there was only 20 cars for the Sprint Series, which was a little bit disappointing because last year I know we had the Lexuses this year, which by the way sound phenomenal. They are really good sounding cars. One of them driven as well by Stefano Telli, who's like a sort of semi-hero of mine from back in the day. He won Le Mans in 1998 with Adam McNish and Laurent Aiello, who I was supporting in British touring cars. and I had a model of that Porsche, and it was one of my favourite things ever. So it was nice to see Stefan Ortelli driving that.
Yeah.
We had 2 Bentleys. I think there was a couple more Bentleys last year.
Yeah, there was definitely more because you could feel them going, or you could feel them in your chest.
Yes, yeah.
And there were definitely more BMWs.
There were more BMWs.
Start row racing with there with Antonio Felix da Costa.
Yes, yeah. They had. I think there was 4 BMWs last year.
We had 1 this year.
Yeah, only 1 this year.
Quite a few in the GT4s though.
Yeah.
So that was
that
made up for me because
European GT4 was a good field. There was a nice mixture of cars in Camaros were immense. There was 2 of them in the field, and you could hear them all the way around the track. There were no McLarens in Blancpain this year.
No.
And
1 Ferrari.
1 Ferrari. There was about 3 or 4 last year. So the field was smaller, but the quality of racing was probably better.
Yes.
Overall. So you win some, you lose some with that one.
Yeah. Give and take. The other thing that we did see at Brands was Supercar Siege, which is all over the vlog.
Yes.
So I would just say check it out for that one, because
a couple of monumental cars turned up for that, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Which you will see in the vlog. But a couple of Koenigseggs, Lamborghinis and Ferraris galore, that one. So Formula One. Now,
do I hold my hands up first of all and say that I had to watch the highlights? Well, I rewatched the entire race, but from about lap 34, 35-ish, I was slightly dozy, slightly drowsy.
It was, I think, especially if you were watching the highlights as well. I was also running off of Channel 4's highlights because.
Well, this was the replay on Sky. I saw.
Ah, right, yeah.
But I wish that I had gone for the highlights, to be honest. I might have stayed awake.
I always find, unless I'm one of those people that the Grand Prix is on and I can't watch it because I don't have Sky, so I have to rely on Channel 4's coverage. I will shut myself off from social media. I've now turned my phone off completely, apart from to turn it back on and insult my fellow colleague over here.
That happened more than once.
with this taste in Eurovision songs, which was also this weekend, but we won't discuss that.
Winner chicken dinner.
But I do not. If I find anything about it, or if even anyone says to me, "Oh, you'll like what happened," or they give away so much just by saying one silly thing, and then that completely ruins it. I just sit there, and I'm just not interested in the race, to be honest.
I've learned a new trick with that though.
Yeah.
Because generally, if I'm at work and my wife's at home watching it, I come in, and obviously I know if Lewis has started at the front or whatever, and I just walked in on Sunday. Said, "Did you watch it?" Yes. Did Lewis win it? Just yes or no? And she said yes, and that's all I needed. Then I knew that I wasn't in a rush to watch it.
Yeah.
If she'd have said no, it could have been Bottas, it could have been, it could have been anyone. I was going to say Raikkonen then, but it's very unlikely to be him because
they won't let him.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a Ferrari fan and I know that.
Yeah.
But no, if she then says no, it would have been on the telly. But because she said yes, he won it, I wasn't in such a rush to watch it.
Takes off that sort of excitement about it. And
that's it. But otherwise, I sit there and I'm just like, oh, he's won it. I wish I'd wasted my time.
So starting, Lewis did win, which pleases me greatly. Not so much the fact that he won does please me, but the way he won it as well also pleases me. It was a bit of a shock, to be honest, from my point of view, because Ferrari didn't really turn up.
No.
Apart from qualifying or in practice, race-wise, they just weren't there.
I don't understand. I've got a whole list of theories here, but I don't know.
Let's hear some of them.
So you've got the start.
Yes.
Bottas is second.
Yep.
And Vettel takes him.
Yep.
So he slipstreamed him and he got round him.
Whilst we're on that point, I don't know if you saw it or if Sky picked up on it in the after room, where they go up and they wait to go out on the podium. Lewis was talking to Bottas, I think, there, and they were discussing the start, and Lewis actually said to Valtteri, he went, "I should have come over, I should have come in front of you, and you could have used my slipstream and we could have gone 1-2. He said, because what I think happened was Vettel got in my slipstream, which is what happened, and I managed to pull past you.
Yeah.
So next time, if Mercedes start 1-2 at another round with a long run into the first corner, it might be interesting to see what Lewis and Valtteri do.
I would imagine they'll drop in behind each other.
Yes, to try and stop that.
And Lewis will be more than happy to advise Bottas to drop in behind him going into the first corner.
Of course he would. Of course he would.
So
But there is, I gotta say, it is very much. It's a stark contrast relationship that they've got to what him and Alonso, Nico, and him and Alonso. I was thinking more Nico, but
yes, there's
much more of a team thing about those two rather than.
I get the impression that whoever Bottas drives with, he's just easygoing. He knows his speed. He knows he's talented.
It's kind of the Finnish way, isn't it? All the Finnish drivers are very
Finnish people.
Easygoing. Yeah.
I worked with a Finnish lady for 7 years, and I've never met anyone so laid back in my life.
Sorry. Back to your theories.
So Vettel was then second, and things were happening way back, but suddenly Seb stops.
Yes.
No one else has stopped.
Yeah, no one else has stopped.
None of the other front runners.
No, the first one to come in.
Was it because they were planning a 2-stop and they were rigidly sticking to it? Was it because the special new Mercedes spec tyres weren't working?
Mercedes, here we go. Mercedes spec tyres. Same for everyone. Same for everyone.
Yeah. And it's for 3 rounds. They've explained why Pirelli have done it.
Yeah.
You know, they've done it because they don't want mixed up racing. I can't think what the actual word they used was. We don't want a lottery, I think it was they said.
Which is sort of against the reason, or against Pirelli's original direction.
What year was it that we had 7 winners in 7 races? The year that Maldonado won. And it was, and everyone said,
wasn't it?
Must have been. And everyone said, this is a lottery, isn't it brilliant?
Yes.
And now they're saying, make sure the tyres are going to last. And you end up with 1-stop boring races.
Yeah. This is all well and good. If it stays the way it does, and these aero changes that come in actually work, and they're allowed to follow each other, and they can overtake better, then fair enough. You want them in the pits as least time as possible.
Yes. Yeah, we want the passing on the track, not in the pits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to Vettel. One of the things that, when I was watching it, I thought perhaps they were trying to force Mercedes into changing their strategy.
Yeah.
And play into Ferrari's hands a little bit more, but it really just did seem that they couldn't go any further than that. They had to do that.
And then when he came out behind Magnussen.
He did.
And you're thinking, if they were doing that by choice to try and trick Mercedes, they would have waited an extra lap or two and got him out in front of Magnussen.
Yeah.
So it was like the car wasn't set up to take the tyres. They'd gone. Which is,
you wouldn't really expect anyone to have any tyre issues. At the amount of testing that is done in Barcelona, you'd expect everything to be. It's one of those tracks that it doesn't tend to provide too much entertainment because everyone is dialed in there. Everyone knows it like the back of their hand. It's one of those.
That's why you're wondering if testing should be somewhere else. They should only be allowed to test at Brands Hatch, Donington, and Estoril.
Yeah, well, no, because Paul Ricard's now part of the calendar, so they can't even do it there anymore.
But at least then the data that they've got from testing is car specific, not track specific.
Exactly that. That's actually a good idea. We should get Jean Todt on the phone.
Yes.
You being a Ferrari fan, it'd be better to talk to him than what I would say.
Yeah, I wouldn't be quite as abusive.
He might listen to you.
Yeah, I think it must have been because of tyres. There's new tarmac as well, isn't there?
Yes, it was recently resurfaced, so that would probably have played a part in that. The other thing as well, from Ferrari's point of view, is Raikkonen had already retired with some sort of failure, so they couldn't use him as a guinea pig to see what was happening. So Vettel was their only hope at that point.
Yeah.
So I guess it was better to be safe than sorry. They have had issues with running tyres too close in the past.
Yes.
Most notably Silverstone last year.
I believe you cheered.
I may have made a loud noise at that particular time. I can neither confirm or deny it totally, but there is video footage of it somewhere. But maybe. Moving on.
So, I mean, at this stage, Lewis is gone anyway.
Yeah, Lewis was miles up the road. It was very much a sort of 2014, 2015 kind of performance. It was straight out and gone.
And the interviews I've seen afterwards, he looks very, very laid back. Recently he's looked a bit stressed. Yeah,
he has done. But this was all very calm, very confident, which has been weird because he's been country hopping a lot recently, and trying to recover from jet lag and do what he did was.
To be fair, one of the things that he did was go to the Met Gala where Amelia Clark was, so I wouldn't have a problem channel hopping for that. But yeah, no, he looked like he was on it. He looked up for it.
Yeah.
So while all this is going on, anyway, before this, Magnussen went into turn 3.
Magnussen went into turn 3.
Sorry, even Roman Grosjean went into turn 3.
Well, you say that, but Magnussen was kind of the catalyst for this.
He had a wobble.
He had a wobble, and Grosjean had to avoid him. He didn't go the Red Bull route and just wipe out his teammate in front. He did avoid him.
Even bigger wobble.
Lost the car himself. But instead of sort of pulling in the clutch and sliding off to the outside of the track, thought it might be a good idea to absolutely gun the throttle and spin the car back round, but did so across the track and wiped out Hulkenberg and Gasly in the process, which the stewards have given him a 3 position group penalty the next Grand Prix for.
Do you think it was all Magnussen's wobble in front, or do you think it was cold tyres as well?
It was cold. Other people were struggling. It seemed to be very cold that first lap.
One of the McLarens had an issue as well.
Yes, I think Alonso was sort of tippy-toeing around the outside, to the point where Channel 4 thought he had a puncture and then just completely forgot about that at some point. So I was sitting there waiting. Is Alonso okay? Is he not okay? What's going on?
The puncture that Hulkenberg got was a little bit more serious.
That was there was 3 wheels on my wagon, that one. But yeah, Roman, he's not had a great start to the season. Very unlucky in Australia with the whole wheel nut incident.
Yeah, that wasn't his fault.
That wasn't his fault.
But he has brain fog now and again.
He really does, and it's kind of the thing that he's old enough, he's experienced enough now to not do this kind of thing. This is like a Pierre Gasly or a Charles Leclerc kind of scenario. He shouldn't be making these kind of errors.
Is this why Grosjean is in a Haas and not in a McLaren, a Ferrari?
You could well be right here. You could well be. I think, was it Renault? They were very brave. They gave him the opportunity at a reasonably young age.
Yes, yeah.
Which didn't go as well as I don't think either party were hoping.
No.
But to be fair to Roman, he went away and came back a much stronger driver.
Yeah.
But he just still has these moments, and it's very frustrating. Like you say, without this, he might be sitting in a Ferrari or a McLaren right now.
On his day, he's talented enough.
He is, and he's one of the drivers I've actually seen again at brands in Euro Formula 3. He absolutely dominated. He was in the Red Bull car. He absolutely dominated. Yeah. And he can do it. He just has these bizarre,
it's strange
moments.
But then I'd say the same about Perez. Perez is good enough to do it on his day, and he had his turn in a McLaren. And
Perez,
some drivers, it's just not meant to be.
No. Well, Perez actually, the closest he ever got to a win was at Sauber, and he should have won. Malaysia, I think it was.
It was. That was a crazy race with Alonso.
Yeah, he was chasing down Alonso in the Ferrari, and bar a mistake into like the second to last corner, could probably have had Alonso there.
Yeah, I was like a coiled spring that race. The end of that race. Stressed isn't the word.
Talking about that, K-Mag, Grosjean's teammate, got himself into a little bit of hot water during free practice. He decided to defend an overtake from Charles Leclerc aggressively as well, which is why you're defending in free practice, I'll never know. And to do it so aggressively did earn him a reprimand. But that seemed to fire him up, because during the actual race weekend, he was very solid. Yeah.
Very, very good. P6, wasn't it?
I think it was.
P6. Yeah. It was a good.
Which it could be another reason why Grosjean's having these little fade moments, because Magnussen is getting the job done.
Yeah.
He's not everyone's cup of tea, but certainly not Hulkenberg's cup of tea.
He's not slow.
He's not slow. And Haas have, I think, 19 points in the championship so far, all of which scored by Magnussen.
Yeah.
So,
and the more that goes on, the more pressure Grosjean's going to feel.
Yes. Yeah.
Sauber. That was the first consecutive points finish for a Sauber since Massa was in the car.
No way.
Sky F1 said since Massa was driving the Sauber in 2015, I happen to know he wasn't driving a Sauber in 2015, so
2005.
I think they meant 2005, and I think he was rushing the stat out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the first consecutive points finish since Massa was driving the Sauber.
Really? That is quite... I thought that would have been back in the day... Well,
I thought it would have been Perez. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's quite interesting anyway.
Yeah, no, that's good, that.
Yeah, so we had this big accident, safety car, got all of that swept up and off they went. Lewis...
Checked out.
Yep, checked out, that's the word. That's yeah, I was going to use the F word. Lewis disappeared. And we had the virtual safety car incident.
Yes, we did. And do you know what? I'm struggling to remember what that was for now.
To be honest, so am I. I didn't even write it down in my notes.
No.
And Seb pitted.
Yes, Seb did pit.
Did he need to? Did he do it trying to trick Mercedes?
Or
did the fact that the Mercedes crew were out in their pit box with a set of tyres help?
Now, see, I was going to say this. Did they actually come out the garage? I know there was a camera view of them, almost as if they were about to leave the garage with tyres. Did they actually come out into the pit lane?
I think they got as close as they're allowed to,
right, into
sort of trying to lull Ferrari into it. Did Ferrari take the bait and do it because of that?
They might well have done.
I think they did.
That's a very good point. I know, sort of after the race, they seem to just be saying they had to.
Yeah.
But it does make you wonder whether they were lulled into that.
And Bottas's tyres only being 3 laps old, 3 laps newer.
Yes.
If they think Bottas, and apparently there was some radio traffic. We're going to box, we're thinking of boxing you, and just things going backwards and forwards. How are your tyres? How's the wear?
Yeah, because that's one thing. Towards the end of the race, Bottas did have a blister on his left front, and it was starting to cause a few issues.
So you wonder if they've used the whole Bottas's are only 3 laps newer.
Yeah. To
get Ferrari in, and it worked.
Yeah.
Fair play to it, it's part of the game.
Yes, it is, and it's unusual, really. Mercedes not been the best, I don't think, tactically.
No.
In recent years, they've been very lucky that their car has been far superior.
That's been the main thing where they let themselves down, isn't it?
Yeah. They do have. Oh, don't get me wrong. They do a good job, but they don't do the best job. I think as far as Ferrari have always been very good tactically. Yeah. They've had the odd issue here and there. I
always think you look at what Force India can do tactically as well.
Very, yeah.
So a lot of the points they get.
Very underrated team.
Yeah.
They do a very good job for the budget they're on. They do an excellent job, Force India.
I love the whole idea in my head that's probably completely wrong, but you've got Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull all sat there looking at a screen, watching a rain cloud coming in, waiting for it to touch that, and you've got a man at Force India, and he's the one that sits on the end, and he's just sitting there with his arm outside. Yes. The minute he feels a drop of rain, he just pushes the button to pit.
Yeah.
And the others were sitting there waiting for this cloud to change colour or something on the screen. He just, right, it's raining. But I'm probably completely wrong there, but that's just how I imagine doing it.
That's quite a good little cartoon, actually.
Yeah. So Seb came in and Verstappen got past.
Yeah. Everyone else one stopped, I think, of the front runners.
Yeah,
anyway.
the front they did.
It was just Seb that pitted twice, and in the end cost him a podium.
Yeah.
He couldn't even get onto terms with Max Verstappen with a damaged front wing. Yeah. Who is, I think, got this incredible record so far this season of making contact in every race so far.
I think we should give him a touring car race.
It's a bit of a worry. If he'd get into a touring car, it's a bit of a worry what damage he'd cause, to be honest.
Could you imagine him in a Ginetta?
They wouldn't bother putting a bonnet on his car again.
There'd be a seat and 4 wheels.
Yeah.
And he'd cross the line first.
But no, it was a good, positive result for Max.
Yes, he needed that.
He's had a little stick recently. Incidentally, Daniel Ricciardo didn't seem to be on form this weekend. No. It makes you wonder whether he's been a little bit affected by the events in Baku. And silly mistake under virtual safety cars, spinning the car, which is something if Max would have done, there'd have been a lot of people voicing their opinion on it. But as Daniel's done it, there doesn't seem to be too much banded about.
I've not seen anyone mention it.
No.
And I've not really seen any footage going around.
The only footage I've seen is his onboard.
Yeah. Whenever Verstappen crashes, though, there's every single camera angle going and everyone's sharing it.
Yeah. I know. Obviously, Ricciardo's been out. he's got a vast amount of experience over Verstappen, and he's the more reliable driver of the two, let's say. But even so, silly mistake.
Yeah, you shouldn't be doing that.
no. But it could be worse. He could have done like Grosjean did in Baku and
blame someone else.
drop it and blame someone else. Yeah,
that would have been brilliant when he did it. When Ricciardo did it, if he'd have come on the radio and said, "Oh, it's bloody Ericsson again."
Instantly, I did see Will Buxton actually did tweet just after the accident into turn 3. Ericsson's fault, which I thought was funny.
So I thought it was probably the least exciting race of the season,
barring Australia. But then you have a different opinion on Australia.
Yeah, the trouble is, exciting to me, it could be the most boring race on earth, but a red car wins it, and that immediately makes. We're back to your texting again. If I say a race has happened, and I text you and go, "Oh, that was a brilliant race," you probably know that a Ferrari's done very well and most likely won it.
Yeah.
So it's yeah.
But as you say, it wasn't the greatest race in history. But then Spain very rarely creates something special. Again, like we said earlier, everyone knows the track, everyone's dialed in.
It's not easy to overtake out there.
It's not. But going back to Sauber and getting the consecutive points finishes. I think we failed to mention him in the previous podcast, Charles Leclerc, but special mention because he's doing a fantastic job there.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliantly. And this is what we had a little bit of a talk off air earlier about Stoffel van Dorn at McLaren. He's doing a good job at McLaren, but he's doing a very quiet and unnoticed job at McLaren.
To me, it's almost like he's doing an okay job in an okay car.
Yeah. But of the sort of youngsters in Formula One this year, he'd probably be one of the names down the bottom of the list that you'd mention. I mean, Leclerc's done a fantastic job, a couple of outstanding drives in that Sauber.
Gasly's looking good.
Gasly is looking very good.
Gasly a lot.
He had a good result in Bahrain, didn't he, Gasly? And Van Dorn's just not doing anything special to take the attention.
But equally, he's not doing anything awful to take the attention.
No, he's not doing anything wrong.
So, no.
But
you got to feel for him in a way.
Yeah, you kind of want to see him just do something stand out.
Yeah. Suddenly just grab a podium out of nowhere.
I know, it's got to be very difficult when your teammate's Fernando Alonso. It has to be, but
there's only one way to go as Alonso's teammate. That is to take as much information from him as possible.
Yeah. But I just fear
follow him around everywhere he goes.
Yeah, I fear for Stoff's future in Formula One because he's not done anything stand out.
No,
and that's a bit of a worry going forward. Unless McLaren become a race-winning car over the next couple of seasons, I don't think he's going to grab any attention from other teams.
No. And then if his time at McLaren comes to an end, you worry for him.
Yeah. But anyway, I think we've pretty much covered everything so far.
Do you want to do a driver of the day?
We would do a driver of the weekend, won't we?
Yes.
So a few nominations for this.
Who are you thinking?
Well, I was thinking you got to throw in. I think Nick Tandy.
Yes.
Patrick. Well, if you go and do Nick Tandy, you have to do the whole car really. So
it's the whole team, isn't it?
It's the whole team on that one. I personally would have a vote for Mika Hakkinen jumping that chicane. I think it's a brilliant move in the Monaco Classic.
And Lewis
got me up there
because he did the job.
Yeah,
he got in the car and he drove it.
Yeah,
he drove it fast.
Yeah, he did a very good job. I think it's got to be Lewis.
Yeah, he just got in that car and went. Qualifying, he out-qualified Seb, and that was the first step. And then in the race, was it a 10th? Was he a 10th faster in qualifying? It wasn't a huge gap, was it?
No, it wasn't a massive gap to.
How different it could have been if Seb had got in front of him. Obviously struggling, holding him up maybe. Would Bottas have passed him?
This is the question.
So many what ifs.
There is
just
so
for
many
that 10th of a second in quali.
And this is the question. This season so far has been it's been a bit strange. You look at it as a whole, and you think Mercedes could have won any of the opening races.
Yeah.
Or at one point they could have won them all. So for them to be in this position to have not had a 1-2 all year is a bit strange, getting into the 5th race of the season. The fact they didn't even get a win till last time out.
Of course.
But they've never shown the dominance, this kind of dominance so far this year. Do you think this is the way things are going to go now for the rest of the season, or do you think it's just a Barcelona is a Mercedes track and that's that? It's a one-off.
Fear factor's telling me that they're going to run off now into the lead and 1-2 every single race, but I think it's a one-off. Temperature-wise, it affects it a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the tyres. We've got these new tyres, and they've got them, and they've got on top of them quickest.
Yes. Yeah.
And I want to sit there and say they're Mercedes spec tyres. Mercedes asked for them. Mercedes designed them. Mercedes made them and put a Pirelli sticker, whatever. They didn't.
If we're going down this route, can I just say about Bridgestone and Ferrari in the noughties? Because
I didn't watch till 2009. I know none of this. I know none of this rubbish.
Okay, basically,
yes.
When there was the tyre war and we had Michelin and Bridgestone,
USA Grand Prix.
There is that. All the Bridgestone runners had tyres based on what Ferrari wanted and not what the rest of the teams wanted, which I think is probably why in the end only about 3 teams ran Bridgestone other than Ferrari. So I think that well, it's just everyone tries to make up stories.
That's it. It's to get space in the news.
Yeah,
no, they bought these tyres. Pirelli bought them for a reason. They were worried about blistering. Mercedes took the tyres and got on top of them.
Yeah, and they did a better job.
Like you said, everyone had the same tyres.
Yeah.
So
and well, as we said, Ferrari were the only one that really struggled.
Yeah, so, no one else did.
No, and Haas even did all right on them in a Ferrari. So
Sauber got a Ferrari engine in their car. Did all right with them.
Yep.
So
yeah. But Monaco next.
I'm more excited for the evening.
You're more excited. Yes, the Indy 500 is also on the same day. See, I fear for the Monaco GP because I think it's going to be, from my point of view, I think Ferrari are going to walk it.
I hope so.
I think we had this last year as well.
That made my weekend last year that I was wearing my Ferrari shirt at your mum's house.
We're doing the same again. We're having a Monaco party and Indy 500 party. But yeah, the Indy 500. I'm really looking forward to the Indy 500 this year. We've also got Kelly Clarkson singing the national anthem for that, and we've got James Hunt waving the green flag. We've got Chris Hemsworth is waving the green flag. So that's if no one's seen the Indy 500 or you think it's just driving in circles, honestly, please just watch it because there is a lot more to it than just driving in circles.
It's the whole build up as well.
They do it properly.
Everyone had a go at the US Grand Prix Formula 1 last year about the build up. But I loved it. It was so American.
It's an event. It's a little bit of pomp and circumstance, and it's just nice to
brilliant.
Just make everything
don't even take it too seriously.
No,
just sit back and enjoy it. The racing was brilliant last year.
So who's your tip? I know we haven't had qualifying yet, so we don't know
who's going to win the Indy 500.
So
what a question.
Who would you put money on?
Tony Kanaan.
TK?
Yeah. I don't know, there's something about him.
Okay.
I'd like to see it. There's a group of drivers I'd like to see win it. Rossi is the one I'm really behind this year. But
done it once already, so he's got experience.
But every time I think about it, I just keep thinking TK and I just keep thinking,
Interesting, because also Ilio is back,
yes.
And he's going for his 4th again, so he's always very competitive at Indy. Just shout out as well, we had the Grand Prix of Indy at the weekend.
Yes.
And I haven't spoken to my mother about it, and I probably won't because willpower, got pole and converted that to a win. So I'm going to stay clear of her, I think, for a little bit, at least until the 500. But she's a willpower fan. I'm not sure how much of a willpower fan she actually is, or if she just does it because she knows it winds me up. But either way, I'm going to stay clear for a couple more days. Scott Dixon, a very good result as well, came second. I think started 18th, so had a really good race.
That just sums up the racing. From 18th to 2nd.
Exactly. And Robert Wickens came third.
Yeah.
And Robert Wickens again is another driver I've seen in lower formula before. I saw him in A1GP drive for Canada at Brands, and I've seen him at Silverstone in Formula Renault 3.5 Renault World Series. He actually won at Silverstone in a field that included Daniel Ricciardo as well. So Wickens is a quick driver.
Yeah.
And he's just got into an IndyCar. This is his first full season. He did a standing race, I think, last year for. I think he stood in for Michael Elation.
Yeah.
At Schmidt Peterson Motorsport. He's got in. Did he put it on pole? No, second at St Pete. He qualified second and pretty much led the entire race. And before he was assaulted by Alexander Rossi, I think it was, assaulted him into the last lap. And he's had a very, very good start.
Yeah,
to his IndyCar career.
He's a quick guy.
Very quick guy. And
there's someone, Peter Windsor often mentions him and often rates him very, very highly.
Very good. And I think the fact he slotted into Schmidt Peterson with James Hinchcliffe, because both Canadian, they've both been mates for a very, very long time. And I think that's helped him settle quickly.
Yes, yeah.
Very good. As for Indy, Danica. Yeah, we got the added bonus of having Danica back. It's going to be our last race.
Yeah.
Daytona 500 appearance didn't go to plan. So it's going to be interesting to see how she gets on it. Indy, it was through no fault of her own, I have to say.
You can throw the book out the window for the Indy though.
Yeah. No,
where else do they go into corners 3-4 wide?
It's very true. And,
anything can happen.
And we've got the new aero kits this year as well, so it's a little bit unknown territory for everyone.
Kelly Clarkson's got just as much chance of winning it as Danica has.
Well, yes.
So
yeah, and anyone really.
Anyone in that field.
Anyone in the field. If I had to pick one, I fancy Scott Dixon.
Yeah.
I do fancy Scott Dixon for this year. To sort of turn around that massive crash he had during last year.
Yes, that was
scary.
Find that on YouTube. That was amazing.
How he walked away from that.
Yeah.
It's a testament to how strong those cars are nowadays. But we've got the Indy 500. We've got the Monaco Grand Prix for next time, and we've also got Formula E, I believe, in Berlin this weekend.
I was there this time last year.
Yes, you were.
Not there this year. Looking forward to that.
That would be good. I've seen lots of fan boosts for Daniel App coming from a.
Would that be from my wife?
That would be from your wife, coming from a certain corner of Twitter. So Jean-Eric Verne going very well at the moment.
Yes.
And Bird also going quite well.
I think Verne will do it, to be honest.
Yeah. Things are on the up for Tech Cheetah.
Yes.
I mean, they're going well anyway, but
things are on the up for Formula E.
Yeah. And again, if that's something that you haven't watched previously because you think it's a bit gimmicky or it's not proper racing, think again, because it is.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a really good series.
And having had the opportunity to go to it, it's very, very different as well because they pack it all into that day. And the whole fan village is brilliant.
I can say again, it's a very fan orientated series.
Walk around, and wherever you walk, there's people, there's drivers. They just come out the pits and wander through the crowd to go and get a burger, or go and get a drink.
Yeah,
it's.
So if you've not seen it before, try and catch the highlights or something. It's well worth a shout. Anyway, I think we've rattled on for long enough now. We'll try and get this up. It will be on YouTube again. We're going to try and get it up so that you can download it onto iPhones and whatnot. We'll try and get that done in the future.
We need a tech expert.
We do, yes, we do, to try and get that sorted. Any tech experts out there, give us a shout.
If you're free.
So yeah, we'll try and catch you in the next podcast, which will be after Monaco and Indy. Yep.
Enjoy. Watch both.
Yes. Please watch both.
And if
it's
you
a
can only
vast
pick
contrast.
one, pick Indy.
Yeah, there'll be
Indy
pick
will
Indy.
be
It will be far more entertaining. There will be more passes in the first lap than will take place in the entire Monaco Grand Prix.
Replace lap with corner.
Yeah, guaranteed. Anyway, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.